mother was sending me text messages and praising my new look.
Oh, look, it's perfect.
We are live.
Oh,
all right.
We're live.
Yes, I wanted to give you guys a few minutes of weirdness. So we are live in downtown Montreal. This is our 100th episode. My name is Leanne Matthews, and this is Live with Leanne. And we're going to let you guys hop on, and we're going to share this video. You don't even have your...
Oh, I can share it.
Yeah, share. So Allie's already here. Hey, Allie, and Karen's already here. We need you guys to share this episode. This is kind of a big deal for us. 100 episodes. Holy smokes. And is that Judy Stroke? I'm going to change my glasses. Antonia is here. So welcome, you guys. I'm going to share this video. Please share it. Sharing is caring. It's been a long time since I've said that. Karen says, good morning from Timmins. Hey, Karen, I hear you were feeling a little bit off, and I hope that you are much, much better. There it is. Live in downtown Montreal. Is it like clear and good and not too bright and stuff? Artie's here. Artie, we're celebrating 100 episodes. Couldn't end it without you, Ardith. You've been with me all the way through, and I am super grateful for that. So I'm going to share it to the Anglican Diocese of Montreal. Share it to your church page. Share it to your home page. We're talking about stuff from church. Cookie says, hello from Lax Airport. Yay,
hey,
fun.
Cookie.
And Karen says, Sammy and me from the bed. I love it. I love it. I love that you're watching from the bed. Please give Sammy a little smoosh for me. JD says, oh my Lord, I'm going to look at my computer. I have two very bored 11-year-olds upstairs. I had to tag along for work today. Let me know if you need them to cameo. Of course, they're welcome. I hope you guys are having fun watching. Grace is here. Yay, you guys. Welcome for our 100th episode party. Everybody's welcome. We're having, oh, look at all those. Let me guess.
Wow, it's like fireworks.
Yeah,
It's
I love that.
Like a 100th anniversary graphic across the screen. Come on, Ardith can make that happen.
So I'm sharing it to the Anglican Diocese of Montreal. Still haven't done that yet because I'm distracted by all the live viewers and the comments and trying to welcome you. Okay, 100 episodes. What? Can you even believe it's 100 episodes? Holy smokes.
Can you remember all the topics you covered in those 100 episodes?
No, or all the guests I've
so
interviewed. Some of them more than once, like you.
A few times.
Yes. Okay. I think we're not frozen. I think we're all good in the hood. So welcome aboard. Today we're having a little bit of a different thing, as you can see. I'm going to read from here. Is that a new comment or no? It's all good. I think we're all good. If I miss a comment, forgive me. I'm doing my best here. Maybe I'll just change glasses into reading glasses so that I can, yeah, that's better. So what am I saying? Today what? Today's a different thing. Today we have a bit of like a panel going down, and I'm going to be interviewed. So I'm going to stop like doing all that stuff. I'm going to listen to the questions and do my best to answer them. I'll give you a little bit of the story around why this is happening. So I had Ryan on one of the Facebook Lives, and afterwards he sent me a little message, and he said, Leanne, thank you very much for for this morning, and I would like to interview you in an upcoming time. And I thought, oh, that's fun. Edward also offered to interview me, which was very kind. And so I'm really fun. It's a different.
So now it's a party.
That's it. Now it's officially a party. It's not like Live with Leanne asking boring questions. It's Live with Leanne having to answer boring questions. So all good in the head. Nikki says woot woot. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for always being here. I've gotten so many amazing positive comments about these things, and I just can't even believe that we're still doing it. So I'm going to pipe down now. I'm going to just pipe it. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it over to... I'm going to let you guys say what you need to say, so have fun. Here you go.
Okay, well let me start. I think we should build a little context for how this beast got started. 100 episodes. It's pretty good. Pretty good. You've kept this going for quite a long time.
I know.
Round of applause, everyone.
Round of applause.
Thank you.
So, Leanne, why don't you tell us first how this got started and why? Why do you do this?
Why do I do it? Well, I'll go to, I won't go to the why first, I'll go to how, okay? Because how and why are different, because the why has changed. But how started a number of years ago now with a former missioner here, Mark Dunwoody, who was my mentor, and we worked together, and we used to come to work really early on Tuesday mornings, like 7:30 in the morning. And
why did you come to work?
Because I don't know, we like to beat the traffic.
Okay, yes.
Like we're early. I'm still
Smart.
an early bird.
Smart.
So we'd come in, and it was around the time that I was watching other people use Facebook Live as a platform to network, share ideas, and this and that. And I thought we should do that. It was kind of new. Facebook Live hasn't been around forever. It was really around the time that it first started. And let's just do it. And he was like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, yeah, you have to do it. And we did it, and I was like, this is just so painless, and such a fun way to reach out to people. So we literally had like lame, random banter going down. It was like not any like serious. We just like made
It's
jokes.
not like the highbrow stuff
It
we've been
wasn't.
doing, right? Like
It was
today.
your Mark at this point. Like, yeah,
It was just
I
Mark.
remember that.
You know, Mark, he would say
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
and that kind of made it like both frightening and fun at the same time, because I never knew what he was going to say or when. Oh my goodness! Look, we are having a full-blown party.
Hey, come on.
Hello, welcome. Okay, this
Happy
is great.
100!
Oh, Liliana's here, you guys, for the 100.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, welcome. This is fun. So I'm just
Wanna
talking
share?
about like how we got started. So we just started doing that, and then like let's just turn it a regular thing every Tuesday morning at 10. Eventually started to bring on guests, so that it wasn't just our random banter. Somebody who'd written a book or something came on to talk about their book. Other clergy were coming on to talk about their goings on, and that's how it got started. And why is because honestly, I could feel it growing. I could feel people. I got the feedback that was like, this is so cool. And my favorite, maybe I won't jump ahead because you might have that as a question. Should I answer that? Okay, I'll just say it. My favorite moment was when I met an elderly lady who said to me, I feel like I know you because it's the only way that I can come to church, because she can't go to church because she was
That's
whatever.
great.
And she said, I feel like I know you. Thanks for bringing the church to me. And I was
Yeah.
like, that is, I'm like, okay, there's no other reason why I do it. It's that.
Well, so let me ask a little follow-up question then on what has been your favorite interview? And you don't actually have to say Neil Mancor or Ryan Cook.
Yeah, no problem.
You might be bound to
Luckily
say
they're
Bishop
not.
Mary. But
Luckily they're not.
But what has been your favorite interview?
Okay.
Is there something that comes to mind?
So before I answer my favorite, I need you guys to know that I love interviewing people, and I literally feel that my life expands when I listen to people, and I learn so much, and my sense of God and my theology expands. So it's spiritually a very profound experience for me to listen to people. But I have to tell you that my heart was blown open by interviewing the primate. And I sometimes can
Whose name is?
Oh, Fred Hills.
Fred Hiltz.
Our primate. Yes.
And what is a primate?
I don't know. The big boss.
The big boss.
Yeah,
okay.
he's like the boss of all bosses of the Anglican Church. And this is the funny thing. I tend to be a little bit irreverent and like maybe even facetious sometimes. And I said to him, I said, so what does it feel like to be an Anglican celebrity? And his answer like literally humbled me in such a profound way, because he said, I'm a servant. And that's exactly what I needed to hear, to be reminded of what it means to be an Anglican and who's a servant. And he really wasn't trying to like diss me, or he just like his heart, he looked at me, I'm a servant. I said, of course you are. And I'm a jerk. So that was lovely and changing.
So what? Most people probably know what you do here at the diocese, but why don't you just take a second to tell us what actually your job description is? I mean, they see you on
Sure.
Facebook Live, but
I will. Ardith, can you come say hi? Ardith's here because without Ardith there'd be no Facebook Live 100 episodes live with Leanne every Tuesday morning at 10.
Glitching. Hello.
Is it glitching? Oh no.
You too.
There's
That's a
Artie,
joke.
you guys. She's in red. We all planned our outfits this morning.
So hugs, everybody.
Yay.
There's
Thanks to
no
Ardith for
favoritism.
making. Yes.
it's glitching, is it?
Well, it should be. Yeah, I see that it's glitching. Oh well, it'll be fun in the rerun. And if you're watching it on the rerun, just
Exactly.
hashtag
I don't
rerun.
understand why, but it's all good. Keep it up.
Thank you. Okay, so what do? What do I do? A lot of things. I run Supper Club. Supper Club ministry happens once a month, every month.
Don't talk about that too much yet.
Okay, nothing. I also do the website. I maintain the website. I run our social media pages. We have a YouTube channel. We have an Instagram. And we don't have a Snapchat. We have a Twitter, and we have Facebook. I have 2 Facebook pages. And I also do a youth ministry project every year. So this year our project is Lent Mission Outreach Day. Last year's Bishop's Confirmation Day. So I support youth ministry by running events for youth and children. We have Godly Play. We have the Godly Play traveling troupe. We'll come and do Godly Play in your place. Honestly, that's probably it. There's probably more, but I'm gonna stop.
But you
there.
make me look good every week.
Yay, and I edit
It's a
videos.
very difficult job
Yes,
too, isn't
yes.
it?
It is. I shoot and edit videos. I have coaching calls on Thursday nights to help people use social media more effectively.
Oh, those coaching calls are so important.
Yeah, and Neil does coaching calls
Yeah.
on congregational development, and I support that. So yeah.
So you work here at the diocese, but you have lots of little things going on the side. I mean, you're all over the
It's called my
interwebs,
side
aren't you?
hustle.
Your side
My
hustle.
side hustle. I have a number of side hustles.
One of the things that I think is pretty cool is this new book that you've
Thanks for
brought out, the
asking.
children's book.
Yes.
Can you give us a little? how did that book come to be, and what's the content of it?
Okay, great. Thanks for asking. So I wrote a book with my partner. It's called The Butterfly Trap, and our website's Dragon Bunny Books. So just Google Dragon Bunny and you'll see it. And we have a blog and stuff, and we're very active on our social. So the book is about a little girl named Lukey who loves butterflies, and I think one of the interesting questions around the book is like how much love is too much love. She has to kind of confront that love of butterflies in her book, and she has to confront some boundaries. And I don't want to give too much away because I want you guys to read the book and to get the book yourself. But it's about butterflies and love, and it's about freedom and captivity, and it's about disappointments and how they can actually transform into freedom.
Wow. Where do people get it?
So you can
You
buy
just
it in
get it on
my
Amazon?
online or Amazon.
Amazon.
Amazon, our online shop. Our publisher is Friesen Press, and you can get it through them. So, yeah, and that's the first book, but there'll be more books. So our second book is on the way, but right now we have the Butterfly Trap, and it's the perfect season for it because butterflies are going free at the planetarium. No, yeah.
Are they?
Not the planetarium, sorry, at the insectarium.
Insectarium.
We don't want them to go into outer space. That's the spiritual end. But anyway, yeah.
But you can go and pick up a free butterfly?
Well, they release them.
Oh, I see,
Like they
I
have a
see.
thing every year where you, and if they land all over you, it's actually really cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, why don't you check out
That's really
Butterflies
nice.
Go Free at the Insectarium. That's the book.
Ingrid's on.
It's a beautiful book.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you. Ryan, have you read the book?
I have not.
Busted.
I know.
Busted.
Leanne, don't bust me on
Sorry.
Facebook
Neil,
Live.
have you read the
Oh,
book?
yes. Yes, I love that.
Have
book.
you?
Yes.
I'm not sure if he has. I think he's totally. Have you really read it?
I really have.
Did I
I
read it?
love it.
Neil,
Yes,
you have to
showed
be
it to me.
you have to be honest.
Yes,
right?
I have.
Seriously.
Don't you remember when you showed it to me?
Yeah, but did you read it?
Yes. Quickly, though. I love it.
Quick.
It's such an uplifting book.
You need to get the book. Anyway, if you haven't read it,
But
you
I
need
don't
to get
own
the
it.
book.
I have to buy it.
Well, I repent.
It has a great message.
Thank you, Edward. You're the only honest one in the room. And Christina Marie says, beautiful story. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
She read it and she was at our launch and stuff too. So, yeah. And Cookie put the link to our website, www.dragonbunnybooks.com. And there's links to buying the book there. And we have a coloring book too, and stickers, and a swag bag.
Okay, so I have a few other questions about your side hustles.
Yes.
But before we go into that, can we just talk a little bit about ministry to children and young people?
Yes, let's.
I'm not sure that we're totally like nailing this in the church.
Really?
This is just
You
my
think?
opinion.
Well.
I'm not sure we're totally nailing it, but I am quite hopeful that we actually probably could do some new things. Can you just talk about, just for a few seconds, on sort of the atmosphere of working with children and young people, what your hopes are? If you could dream about ministry to children and young people in the church, what would that look like?
So one of my side hustles is also like that I teach yoga to kids in schools, and so that really means a lot to me, and I believe that teaching yoga is also a way of accessing children's spirituality, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy teaching yoga. So all this to say that like children's spirituality, being able to provide a sense of like God to kids is like the best thing in the world to be able to do, and my hope is that we'd be able to do it in a much better way than we do it now. I ran a youth group for like 7 years with children and youth together, mixed ages, and I really am a big fan of that. I don't believe that we have to put like 3-year-olds in one room and 12-year-olds in the other. I believe that 3s and 12s can minister to one another very, very well. I've seen that happen, and I've seen communities bloom as a result of being together. But the question is, what do I hope?
Yeah, what are your hopes? So I'm a priest. I know this is shocking. It's the first time you've ever heard
Ryan's
this.
a priest, you guys. It's official.
So I have a church that I'm charged to care for and to build. And if you could talk to someone like me and say, here's what I want you to think about in relationship to children and youth ministry, say in this diocese or even more broadly, like provoke me.
Yeah. Well, what I love about your church, Ryan, first of all, I had the privilege of going to your church a couple of times. I helped out with youth ministry one time with the kids, and I also went to your church on Christmas Eve. And both times I was taken by the fact that there's so many kids in your church. So first of all, hats off to you on that, because oftentimes we're like, if there's not a lot of kids, it's like it's discouraging for you guys to build a whole program because you're not sure what's going to come of it. So you have that as a foundation, and I also want to commend you for your approach of like putting kids first by you, the priest himself, the rector, the head honcho, giving the message to his congregation that kids matter by taking the time of actually ministering to the kids. Like that sense, it's a very powerful message. So hats off to you on that. So I think people really pay attention to where your priorities are going. So like, I find it very discouraging to know that like we put like fresh flowers on the altar every Sunday, and we put like fine linens, and we put all the fancy chalice cups, and then we give that to and we say that's for like the grown-ups, and then we say to the children, well, there's an old box of crayons. And you go in the basement and you have some fun. They were donated in like 1984.
64.
Yeah, right.
64.
Right? And it's like, what message is that sent? Don't tell me that no one's paying attention, because I sure am, and I know that children are very sensitive to their environment and to the energy. So I think we need to really like shift our energy and our paradigm, put our energy where, if we really say we're valuing kids, then you gotta let that be illustrated in your worship.
Even do they get in a church like that says, oh, we don't have any kids? Is it worth making the effort anyways? And saying, actually, we're going to minister to kids, even though they're not there right now.
So our lovely colleague, Sean Danielle, who is pursuing his PhD in children's ministry, he is a huge advocate for children in our diocese. And one of the things, his pet peeves, and he'll say it any chance he has, is that, people will say, we don't have any kids. And I almost found myself doing it too, Sean Danielle, so bear with me. But like having 1 or 2 kids doesn't mean you don't have kids. It just means you pour yourself into those 1 or 2 kids. But I appreciate that's challenging for us, because we are people who like to see people. Now, if we don't see people, we have trouble feeling inspired. But he would say yes. He really drives him cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs if we. He said it's also rude. If you say, well, I don't have any kids, and there's one right there.
Yeah, you have kids.
Right there.
You have
right?
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know in our church, Christ Church, Beau Repair, we have Ingrid and Judith, who, these guys have been working for like 25 years with the children of our church, and they are ready, whether there's 1 children, no children, or 15 children.
Nice.
They're ready
Yes.
every Sunday.
Yes.
And I think that is important. It's the consistency and the passion to at least be ready for them when they come along.
But also just to like honor the work that they do. It's also very challenging to not know if you're going to have 2 or 15, and so it just takes they're very special people, Judith and Ingrid, and it takes a lot of like their hearts are so big. So it's just hard to maintain that stability when you don't have the stability back.
You said a couple times you used the phrase children's spirituality.
Yeah.
You want to unpack that a bit? Because I don't think we always think that way. Like children is about, let's just do the craft, we tell the story, but actually kind of allowing children to express their spirituality. That's you say in all age context. 3-year-old will express they'll respond to a godly play story differently than a 12-year-old, but they're both really important.
So in the same way that like interviewing people opens my heart and changes my theology and my relationship to God, same thing when I'm with little kids. Like when I'm with anybody, when I listen to them talking about their relationship to God or the way they understand God, it's very profound stuff, and I don't think like, oh, one day you'll learn what God is. I think they can teach us a lot about what God is, and I don't have this belief that I don't really approach children's ministry with a sense of like I need to teach you how to feel about God. I think that their innate understanding of holiness is really kind of key to the ministry itself.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody say you must be like a little child?
Yeah, if you want to.
Somebody, there was somebody that said that once.
Some guy very important, yeah. And that's interesting, right? Like I think we do need to like maybe sometimes put our guard down and just like let children lead sometimes more than we maybe let them lead. And like the whole idea of like trying to shape and steer. Sometimes like there's a time for shaping and steering. Don't get me wrong. You let children run amok and the whole world would fall apart. They need guidance from loving, caring, stable adult role models, but they also need to be given a space to express that.
Yes, brilliant.
Good.
So
Good.
let me slightly change courses here to talk to you about another one of your side hustles, which is blogging.
Yes.
You write quite a bit, actually. You get a lot of material out there.
Yes.
And to change the tone of this conversation just slightly, I think one of the things that I find interesting about your blogging is your vulnerability in the blogging. So, in the last couple of days, you wrote one where you're talking a little bit about anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
Like a really potent topic. I know for myself it has been. But can you talk a little bit more about journeying in public? Because that's essentially what you're doing. You're journaling and journeying in public.
You know, all I know is that if I'm going to be creative or if I'm going to be even here, I feel like I just have to really show up. It's the only way I know how to do it. Otherwise, I feel like people, you know, there's really no point in being in relationships if you're not actually going to be willing to show up. And if I want you to show up, I know that I have to show up too. So that's what I do. And selfishly, it's also kind of cathartic for me to share. And also, I've gotten people, you know, it's very validating when someone will say, like, yeah, help me, I feel the same way. Or, you know, your journey, your struggles are real, thanks for being vulnerable. Like, it doesn't feel like an effort for me. It feels pretty natural, but it certainly helps if other people get a little bit out of it. But I don't feel like I know any other way to do it.
So this journeying with authenticity is an important part of what makes you you, and I think it's one of the gifts that you sort of offer, even through this Facebook Live.
Right.
Every once in a while, the camera falls off whatever, and
Yes,
but it does
it
feel
has.
like a very genuine experience we're all
Yes.
having. It's
Well,
one of the reasons I always want to tune in. See what's
Yes,
gonna
exactly.
happen.
I read something really interesting recently. I was doing some research about how to use social media for churches, and I'm always listening to what like influencers are saying. And they said one of the great things about doing this and having your thing fall is that, like, we have this opportunity to build trust with our audience, and we know that one of the issues that we have as a church is that people don't trust us. So if we can be as vulnerable as we can and rebuild that trust, then that's another, like, feather in our cap, or, you know, I'm not sure that's the right expression, so I'm not saying we need feathers in our cap, but a way to connect and heal.
I don't want to move off this
But you are, so.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay,
Actually. I
okay.
just want to push you a little further.
Okay, sure.
The anxiety and depression bit that you blogged about,
Yes.
you know, and you have a few times. The interesting thing, someone like you saying that, because you come across as so incredibly vibrant and happy, which you are.
Yeah.
Which you are. But there is a tension there for lots of people, isn't there? There's sort of like inner life and outer life, and the inner demons.
Yeah. And attention for me too, to be honest. Like, when I'm plummeting into those, like, places of darkness, and it can get really, really bad, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm a happy person, or, like, you know, and I don't want to use words like crazy, but I say those things to myself, and I know I would never say that to anybody else. Having depression does not mean you're crazy. But that's how I talk to myself sometimes. I'll be like, you know, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy? Like, you act like you're so okay. And so most of the time I am, but I guess, like, I have to accept and come to terms with and be willing to share that sometimes it's not all that in a bag of chips. Sometimes, like, there are some real struggles, and I don't really understand it. But I guess I have to try and reconcile it, because it's what's going on, it's what's real. And hiding it, for me anyway, just actually makes it altogether worse, because then you feel like there's something shameful. It's like, it's just what is.
But it does feel emotionally generous when you do share what you're going through.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It takes courage.
Yeah, I guess, but like I say, for me, it doesn't feel like I'm being courageous. It feels like it's the only way to cope with it, is to kind of just present it.
I do think sometimes when I've read some of your stuff, I do feel like your narratives create like a space that I know for myself I can sort of enter into and begin to think about my own journey. So that is something you do really well.
Good.
It's
Well,
really,
thank you.
really
That's
helpful.
hugely
And
encouraging.
if you're watching here and you haven't read Leanne's blog, you really should. You
Oh
really
my
should
God,
do that.
yes, you should. The blog you can find on our website. And also I have an audio blog. I guess it's called a vlog. So if you don't feel like reading,
A vlog.
you can listen to it.
Oh, she's so hip with the kids.
Yes, I am so hip with the kids. You should know that by now, right? Look at you with the tooth. That's all I'm going to say. And we'll leave that right there. Okay, nice try though. Yeah. Okay, who's wearing the beanie?
Trash talk at its
Who's wearing the
finest.
beanie?
Thanks
And
for
he calls-
tuning in so we can make fun of each other.
It's not always the best. But yes, please do check out the blog and subscribe. I'm, like, desperate for subscribers. So I'm really, really reliable with weekly blogs, and it's on the website, dragonbunnybooks.com, and you can find it right there as soon as you land on the landing page. My mom's there. Good morning, Mom.
Morning, Mom.
So in case, I'm just going to stop for 1 second, because I don't even know if I introduced you guys all. Welcome to Live with Leanne. This is Edward, Ryan, I'm Leanne, and this is Neil, and we are celebrating our 100th episode this morning. So definitely so glad that you're hopping on, and so grateful to all you all for being this fun panel of celebrants. Celebrants is a church word. Lil popped in, and she went out. I believe she had her niece with her. I didn't have a chance to say goodbye, but it's really fun that people are hopping in to celebrate, so thanks so much for all that. Cool.
Great. Now, with no further ado, I'd like to chat a little bit about this thing called Supper Club.
Oh.
Okay,
And
should
about
I read a
this.
comment quickly first?
Okay,
The
you
church
comment.
should be a place where masks come off. This is from Anderson Marsh. Does anyone know Anderson Marsh?
I do.
Hey,
Anderson,
Thanks
hello.
for the comment. Okay, masks should come off. Bloody hell.
I don't think you're supposed to say that.
The bloody hell part. Okay, well, I wanted to read it. It was such a good comment, but I don't know, it's gone now. But you're right about masks coming off. That's you maybe talking about the vulnerability piece and all that, and I so agree with you. So thanks for chiming in, and I will read the rest of your comment after. Just didn't get a chance to read it live.
It seems to have disappeared.
It did, but not forever. Just from this moment. So we'll get it later.
Now, any other comments that you want to read?
So he says hashtag the Holy Father himself. So I believe he's maybe talking about our Lord and I don't something about
Or
vulnerability.
Pope Francis.
I think it's the Pope.
Oh, the Pope.
Yeah.
Say more about that. Like, is the Pope?
I don't know if I could say
Okay,
a little more
okay.
than that. I'm just
Okay.
taking a guess.
Isn't the Holy Father himself isn't our Lord?
Well, I think probably that.
Okay, but maybe
We
you
should
also,
probably move on.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
because
we'll
you also
work that
call
out.
that the Pope.
Oh, look there. Is that?
Okay, the church should be a place where masks come off, where we are 100% ourselves, be it light or dark, but church is a difficult place to show and explore our wounds. We were talking about that this morning. We were talking about the charismatic movement, the evangelical movement, how it's super expressive, and our more like high Anglican tradition is less emotional, and there's a tension there too, because we identified that this morning, didn't we, in our
We
brief
did.
chat about
But
music.
also, I think it's because we don't provide places. You know, we did one on kitchen environments, right? We don't have kitchen tables
Mm-hmm.
that we can sit around and share those things in our
Mm.
churches a lot of the time, which leads us to what Ryan was asking about the Supper Club.
So Ryan's the holy?
Oh, he's yes.
Yeah, the dude wearing the beanie is always the Holy Father himself.
This is his
Oh,
desert
man.
ascetic.
At least by his own perception.
This,
No,
this is plummeting downward,
no,
isn't it?
No. We all know that Ryan's the dude.
Okay, before we totally mess this up. Let's pick up on this supper table thing.
Yes.
Let's talk about
Places,
Supper Club.
environments for sharing. Yes.
I think this is something we probably all have a little bit of a
At
passion
least
for.
we've
Yes.
all been,
Yeah.
and like some of us who haven't read the book, all of us are here, which is great.
This is
It's
true.
great. It's great. So thanks so much for bringing up Supper Club. So Supper Club is it's a month. What do you want to know?
Well, what it is for one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to ask you to tell us a few stories from Supper Club about
Sure.
what it means
Yes.
to people.
Love to. So Supper Club is a monthly gathering where we have dinner and we worship and we talk about God. And what's cool about Supper Club is it's kind of like a church. It has some of the bits of church in terms of like gathering and singing and scripture and prayer and eating, but it's better than just this. We get to eat a meal. And as for the wine, it's like not just a sip, it's like a full glass and stuff. So,
Leanne's poking the beast here.
so but there's definitely, we call it like food for heart and soul. So you eat, but you also get fed in all the ways. And because I can see like the priest over here is like shaking his head, so I don't want to offend anybody. But yeah, I don't know, that's what it is. And the best thing is it's like, I cannot, again, relationships. As for like kids and youth and all of us, like it's really all about connection and getting to know each other. And so we don't just like sit like all looking at the priest who tells us all the thing. We actually sit in a circle and we learn from each other, and there's a lot of like sharing that happens and communicating and ideas and relationships. So people have made relationships that are super fruitful from Supper Club.
One of the things I noticed when I came to Supper Club, and maybe it was just the week that I was there, but there's a real eclectic mix of people, like really a sort of really different group.
Yeah.
That sort of gathered all around. I mean, it's in the middle of downtown. People are like commuting like 30 minutes to come to this.
In the dead of winter, I
in
might
the
add.
dead of
Yeah.
winter. So what I'm interested to hear, why do you think this eclectic mix of people finds this so moving and such a special thing for them?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you travel 35 or 40 minutes from the West Island? I know some people come from the West Island to come to Supper Club.
Yeah.
And on a fairly consistent basis.
Yeah, it does impress me too. I'm from the South Shore, and on a train, I'm with their grandchild, and you know what I mean. People make special efforts to come, and I have to say I'm super impressed. Let's all take a minute to maybe answer that. I'll go first, and then we'll all take it. I mean, I think it's about about the connections that you can make. And like, I'm going to just tell you right now that you know, for me anyway, I cannot speak for anybody else. For me, like, Sunday morning church just is not as compelling as it once was for me, and I feel like it's because I'm having trouble with the relationship component of it. And I really like, as you may know, I like talking.
I never would have guessed.
I like me some talking, and I like me some listening, right? So I like dialogue and relationship. And the way church is set up, it's not really about dialogue and relationship. It's about somebody telling you the thing, and then you're supposed to just process it all quietly and walk away. But I process through conversation and question and answer. So maybe for me, it's about the conversations, literally. And I love the community, and I really believe that God works through our communities, and I've literally seen it happening. So yeah, it's very, very, it fills me in a way that I can't say I have been filled spiritually. Anybody else can hop on.
Well, I really think it's like an example of what can be, and it's, you know, that's why we really encourage people to come and check it out. Like, if you're thinking of what can we do in our church, what is something missional or different, I really, really encourage you to come to Supper Church. I mean, the possibilities are endless. It's creative, it's simple, but it, you know, as opposed to just having a potluck dinner, which is fine, which are good things. This is church, and people understand it's church, and I think that's why they find it compelling. Because for some people, they can't make it to Sunday morning church, maybe just for emotional reasons, where they've been hurt or it's just not their bag. But they come to Supper Club, and they understand that they've been to church. That's communicated to them. So we don't just sing a grace and that's it. We actually have church, and the meal's incorporated into church, and the conversation, and they get that, and it's compelling for a lot of people. And I think that we often feel we have to target populations to grow our churches, and something like Supper Church is really casting a net out and just saying, hey, you know, come, and you never know.
And as you say, it's such a nice blend, a mix of people, different kinds of people, and there's singing, there's mirth and food and laughter.
What is mirth?
Just humor.
Nice.
Good
Great
feelings.
word.
Yeah.
Great word. Only a Shakespearean actor will be able to say a word like mirth. I love it. Thank you.
I'm going to use it all the time now.
Isn't it? It's beautiful. There's
Feeling
mirth.
a bit mirthy.
Yes.
It's very mirth-provoking.
So mirthy today.
It's a unique experience of church. I mean, you know me, I like the Sunday morning ritual thing, but this is kind of like yin and yang. There's this, you have the formal and you have the less formal, and this is, it's nice to have both.
Lovely. Thank you.
So I wonder if there is something to be said for both of these environments helping to shape even local churches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my
Yes.
opinion, and my experience has been that, well, for me personally, the sort of liturgical Sunday morning gathering for me, where some of the marks of the church happen, you know, the Word of God is preached, the sacraments are administered, and I see actually things like Supper Church. We probably disagree on this, but that's fine too. I see things like Supper Church, which I run various versions of this in my own ministry life, as sort of feeding into one another.
Ideally, yes.
You learn
I don't
about
disagree with you.
you learn about the Eucharist
Yeah.
that happens on Sunday when you've actually encountered people around your dinner table.
Yeah.
You find the meaning of
Yeah.
some of the meaning of it. You know, when you encounter people around your dinner table, these two things feed into each
Yeah,
other.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Oh, good.
Believe it or not.
Good.
But you know, but at the same time, you're saying, but this is also church, and so that it's really important for people to be able to say, okay, I went to church.
Well, no. Well, I think the two are intimately connected, and I think we become unhealthy, probably, you know, as a community when one or the other is missing. That's what I think.
Right.
So I'm saying yeah.
You're saying
I agree.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm not saying yeah.
You're saying
I'm saying yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Because I could hear a little tone in your yeah. Like, what? Did you say yeah? But yes.
Any church can do that. Like dinner church is a movement that's really moving around, and you know what? Anyone can do that. It doesn't involve any big infrastructure. You can put dinner on. You can do this. Yeah. So come and check it out. Come and try.
And the thing is, like, I was inspired to do dinner church because I was at a church planting conference in Toronto, and Dr. David Finch, he's like this major, you know, guy, and he is like a professor of all this stuff, and he was talking about how miracles happened, and I think you probably experienced miracles happening at your table, and I've seen miracles happening, and it's like when somebody stands there and says, I've seen miracles happening at the table, and it's like, well, why would you not want to make miracles in your life? Like, literally, it's you know, it's very exciting. So.
And would you say that there's been miracles at Supper Church.
Yes.
And is there, now you don't have to, if you just say no if you don't want to do this, but is there like a story that you could share that would be appropriate to share on something
it's
that's
tricky
happened?
because
I know this is tricky.
It's like
you don't want to tell someone
and
else's
that's
story.
Even the guy, Dr. Finch, he's like, I don't want to. Those are miracles that.
The
you
private.
know, yeah, they're kind
Yeah.
of like it's the person who had the miracles happen. If they wanted to share it, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's
right?
a tricky one,
It is
right?
tricky. So there's something around like the sort of sacredness of the miracle, but to suffice it to say yes, and I'd rather not say more right now.
I mean, for me, the miracle in general is when someone comes to that, or a messy church or something like that, and says, I've been to church. And you can see this weight lift off their shoulders, and that's what is, to me, a miracle. Because
What's the weight, Neil?
the weight of obligation that, I'm not coming to 10 o'clock on Sunday. And, we're very good at making people feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
And instead, when we reach out and we feed them and nourish them and, again, communicate, though, this is church. And, hey, you've been to church. And it feeds body and soul. And, again, it's so easy to do.
Yes. It is. It's like, I was saying to somebody months ago that it's like non-professional. You could be a non-professional and do deep, meaningful ministry if you have a dinner table.
Yeah.
It's not an elitist form
Right.
of ministry. It is something that we could all take out, and you could invite your friends.
Exactly.
Sit around the table with your friends.
I mean, people have like a really deep craving to connect and to have spiritual conversations. Whether or not they want that to be framed in a Christian context, that's always the thing that for them, it's like they'll say, I'm spiritual, not religious. That's like the thing that everyone says. But people still have a deep need to talk about their spirituality, their understanding of that. And we're Christians here, so we talk about this in the framework of God and Jesus. And I think that feeds people. And like oftentimes people come, I could see people actually, as you say, becoming more and more interested in the church as a result of the table itself, of Supper Club. I want to read a couple of comments. Anderson says, plus this model of church is an open table, whereas the church isn't so open. Thanks, Anderson. Props. Okay. Carolyn says, we talk lots at St. Jack's, but Supper Club is small, intimate, and that is very appealing. It's great that I want to commend you guys at St. Jack's. I know you do a lot of dialogue and conversation. I think you're even having these intimate prayer groups or meetings or something where you get a couple of people and you talk about, plus you have Alpha and stuff. These are opportunities to talk. I think that I cannot say enough about how we can grow spiritually through conversation. And yay, good for you guys at St. Jack's. You guys are pioneers. I think you need both models of church and more. And more. Yay, Anderson. And more. I wonder what that more might look like, but definitely. Yeah.
And then, Nikki, this is a very important comment.
Oh, love me some mirth or mirth.
Oh.
Yes, and that's great. And thank you, Nikki, for being here, always upstairs, always coming to Supper Club too, Nikki, and helping with the setup. So thanks for that.
Always there for the wine and cheese.
Exactly. It's like a couple of chips, a little glass of wine, then she has to go home to her daughter. So fair enough. Well,
but hey, that's
no judgment.
what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
That's still there.
Absolutely.
I do have a few more questions, but
Yes.
let me ask one, and then I'm sort of looking at these cupcakes.
Oh yes, we
So
do
I think
have
that
we do have
we don't
cupcakes.
wanna
So stick
forget
around
that.
because we're gonna have a cupcakes party.
So this is the 100th episode.
Yeah.
So you're
Wow.
you're basically like a minor Christian celebrity now.
Minor.
Major Christian celebrity
More
now.
than the primate.
and humility is obviously one of the things you're
More.
offering. What do you hope is the future of this little gig? Because it is quite fun. I like it. I often tune in. I'm sitting in my office, watching and laughing to myself, making jokes in the comment feed usually.
The jokes are key. The
Yeah.
jokes are key. I think I'm pretty funny.
Well, I think so too.
But
We do.
like a lot of times I find my own jokes funnier, but that's why I love being around you, because you always find my jokes funny.
Right,
I'm like, he
this is-
gets my jokes, because I'm really funny. But yeah, the jokes are key. I think my hope is that we can just continue to create a space for people to have a dialogue. I'm going to tell you something quickly that I've had people tell me about this thing right here. They'll say it makes the church not look so weird. I'm just telling you. they'll say like, because people think that the church is like just full of people who they wear a big hat and they don't have any feelings. It's like, no, it's actually, you know, human beings who have a sense of humor, who have a desire to connect and to get to know God in different ways. But I know we all know what we're doing because we have the book and we have the outfit. But like, we're all just human beings struggling to be human, and hopefully God willing, to get closer to God on this journey. Like, you know, very simple. And so I think this is an opportunity for us to just show up and share our stories, and sometimes those are great. Like last week we were talking about human trafficking. It was really, really, really hard. So it's not always fun and games, but I think we're just trying to do the thing of like being God's people.
I have to say, I've learned so much about God, my own religion, and this diocese and the people who were involved in this diocese. It's become an important part of experiencing my own religion, just to tune in once a week and just to see who the people are and what they have to say.
Absolutely. I don't want to, you know, I've heard that a lot, that people say, like, I've gotten to know, and that's, I think it's the whole thing is like opening a little bit of a window into our hearts here.
Neil, you got any more questions for Leanne?
I don't know. What's the next big technological leap in Christian communication?
Oh,
The
that's
next
a good
big
one.
technological leap in Christian communication. Listen, Neil, I'm not going to lie. Like, for a lot of Christians, the first big leap is just going to be to open a Facebook page. Okay?
Yeah.
So, like, we're not, you know, we have a lot of work to do. The church is really behind the times in terms of, like, using social media. And I believe I'm an advocate. I believe, like, we're pioneering some stuff here. Even though it's, like, super simple, it's shocking to me how few people actually use live as a way of opening the door into the window of what they're doing, communicating their stuff. So really, my hope is that we can all just get more comfortable communicating in this way. We use Zoom all the time for meetings and for webinars. By the way,
Oh no, what?
we are doing, I have a couple of announcements maybe before we eat cupcakes, a couple of announcements, and we are having a Bible study on Friday mornings. Ryan, I was really hoping you'd lead one of the sessions, but you didn't reply to my email. But now that I have you live, you just might do so.
Yes. This is.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to. Okay, stop. But full stop, I'm going to talk to you in private about that. But I'm really excited. So many people have been like, I really want to come on to the online Bible study during Lent. So it's a Friday morning Lenten
it's a
series.
good idea.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Thank you. And hopefully you'll be one of them.
Yeah, well, I will. Now I'm committed.
Okay, good. He's on. So he'll probably be week 2. Neil's week 1. I've got Bertrand, like our dean. I've got Jesse Zink. He's the principal of the theological college. It's like big boss leaders of the Anglican Church are going to be
That's
like
right. All of
helping
us
us on this Lenten journey, right? And every week it'll be a different sort of
10 o'clock?
10 a.m. Webinar link is so everywhere on our website and stuff, but I'll be putting more here to let you know how to log on. There'll be emails and it's in the newsletter and yada yada. But I'm really excited about that. Like, it's going to be an online Bible study. People have been writing to me saying they actually are into it. And people, you don't have to be from our diocese. People from near and far, you're all welcome.
Great.
Yeah.
Should we have cupcakes?
I think we should.
Okay, so as promised, this is a party. It's our 100th episode, and we have cupcakes.
Do you want me to hold this?
We need some music
Thank
or
you.
something.
We get blocked if we put music.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't let you.
Oh, that's true. Thank you.
I think I'm passing out communion there.
Yeah, we're gonna share this one. Cool. It's gonna be so
Yeah,
good.
we'll share this one. So, congratulations to all of you on 100 years, and to me.
100 years.
100 years.
Yeah,
Oh,
it feels like 100
That's quite
years.
a faith statement.
Thanks,
Leanne's been
Leanne.
doing this.
Thanks,
My
Leanne.
grandmother was 105
Yeah.
when she died.
Wow.
Oh, you don't want to?
Oh.
Oh, boy.
Anyway.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To 100
everyone.
years, 100 episodes.
100 years.
My
Here we
grandmother
go.
was 105 when she died.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe it? So do you guys know what mukbang is?
Oh, I don't like those sounds.
So mukbang is a YouTube sensation where people get food and eat it on YouTube.
Ugh, gross.
And it's often like noodles and like really, really sloppy food. So we're doing a mukbang right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry about this down.
Someone likes it.
It's yummo.
People are loving this.
Yeah.
We
You
should
got any
just-
Tide Pods?
Any what?
Tide Pods? I'm really
Yeah,
getting
Tide
hungry.
Pods. Yes, he has the look. That look, fine for you. To Nikki, I don't know. And you shut up. Isn't time for cupcakes. You guys are so much fun. We love that you're here all the time and like writing the comments and sharing and clicking like and hearts, and all that stuff. It's super fun. So,
Here we go.
thank you. All right. Well,
That was nice.
That was really good.
on that note, we'll see you Friday morning for the Lenten Bible study. Don't forget that you guys need to get those ashes imposed on you tomorrow. Tonight, hopefully many of you are having pancakes somewhere. There'll be a post on our Facebook that's asking you to tag where you're going to be having the pancakes. I'm hoping to have a whole bunch of churches getting tagged this afternoon on our Anglican Diocese of Montreal Facebook page. And I believe that's all the announcements. Don't forget the Lenten Mission Outreach Day is coming up. That's a day for youth 11 to 19 to come here and do ministry, like do projects, like service projects, all in and around the downtown core. Lots of cool stuff going on. Neil's a big part of that.
Yep.
Hopefully you guys will be too. And that's all my announcements. And just my biggest thing that I want to leave you with is thank you. And let's just keep on doing this thing together. And thanks to all of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm gonna over and out us. But see you next week. Same time, same place. Live with Leanne. Over and out.